mates, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time checking out my channel, please do consider subscribing, because on this channel I'll teach you how to do simple DIY fashion right there in the comfort of your homes, and you do not want to miss out on any of it. Today I'm going to show you how you could make a peplum a peplum top, and but in this method I'm going to make a Princess Bustier peplum, but I'm going to do it using the dart manipulation. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to draft this pattern with a side dart, and then we're going to manipulate that side dart in order to get our princess dart. So here I have this is my client's basic bodice. So what I did from the shoulder to this point is the chest line. From here, the shoulder to this point is the bust point line. This is our under bust measurement, and this is our waist measurement. And this is the front part. This is my center front, and this here is my center back. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to impute all the necessary darts that are needed for this pattern. So on the chest line, I went ahead and I put 1/4 of our chest measurement plus 1 inch for seam allowance, and I did the same thing on the back. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my back here, and I'm going to impute our nipple to nipple measurement. So our nipple to nipple measurement is 4 inches, so I'm going to put that here on the chest line and also the waistline, and I'm going to draw that dart up. I'm going to do the same thing for the back. So I'm going to do the same thing here on the back, 4 inches on the back. I'm going to put it up to the chest line, but your dart will not go all the way to the chest line. Okay, so I'm going to stop my dart at the back, 1 inch below the chest line, and I'm going to put 1/2 inch on both sides, and I'm going to draw her dart at the back. So I'm supposed to tell you that the front measurement is 1 inch longer, because our back measurement is actually 17 inches and our front measurement is 18 inches. So this is 18 inches and this is 17 inches. So here on this point, I'm going to put 3/4 of an inch on both sides, because she is not very busty. So I'm gonna use 3/4 of an inch on this side, and on her under bust area I'm going to put 1/4 inch more, which is 1 inch on both sides. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to connect this line here. Now what you're going to do from our bust point line, you're going to come down, because you don't want the dart to go all the way up to our bust point, and also go up 1 inch from that point also. Okay, because you don't want the darts to sit right on our bust point. It's not going to look too flattering. And what you're going to do, alright, so what you're going to do, you'll have to blend up these darts here, because you don't want them to be straight. You're going to blend this up You're going to blend this up. Because you don't want this to be too straight. Okay? Alright, so now what you're going to do is that you're going to impute your bust dart here. So the size of your bust dart is going to be the difference between the front and the back. So in this case, it's 1 inch. So from the bust point line, I'm going to come down 1 inch. So let me draw, before I do that, let me draw the side dart. So our bust is, our waist is actually 38 inches. Plus I'm going to add this dart right here, which is 1.5, plus 1 inch for side seam allowance. Okay, so I'm going to connect this here. Okay, so this here is our side seam allowance. So what I'm going to do, from this side seam allowance, I'm going to take the 1 inch dart and I'm going to connect it to the bust point right here. So this dart right here, we're going to actually get rid of it. We're going to cut it out, and we're also going to cut out this dart right here. But I said that I'm going to actually take this dart, the bust dart, and I'm going to transfer it to my armhole. All right, so what you're going to do, you're going to locate the middle of your armhole. This is the middle of my armhole there. So it stops there, and I'm going to make a line connecting it to the bust point right there. Like this. Okay? So this is where the bust point will stop. So what I'm going to do, okay, I'll have to blend this up, okay, because you don't want it to be too sharp. You don't want it to be too sharp and cause any unnecessary problems. So you're gonna blend this up back here. Okay, so all of this is gonna be off. I'm gonna take out all of that. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to the back. Let's go to the back and talk about how we're going to do the back part. So at the back, we're going to do some contouring. Because you don't want the zipper bulge, you're going to come in 1 inch at the back. And you're going to connect it to your chest line. So now what you're going to do is that you're going to take your zipper allowance from this line right here. So my zipper allowance is 1 inch. Okay, so remember to blend up this area. You don't want it too sharp, okay? And then all of this here would be your zipper allowance. Okay? So let me just cut this out first and work on the front. So let's go back to the waist. So our waist is, a quarter of our waist is 9.5, and see that I'm taking that seam from the zipper allowance plus this 1 inch dart, which is 1 inch here, plus 1 inch to sew it together, which is here. Okay? And then now, because I already put our measurement there, so I'm just going to connect these measurements here. Okay. Don't mind that it looks funny when you take this dart in. It's gonna come out perfect. Okay? And remember that this is just the side seam allowance. So the only thing we need to do is put our neckline measurement. She doesn't want it to be very wide or low, so I'm gonna come down 1 inch at the back. And come over 4.5 inches. I'm gonna add my seam allowance so that I don't forget it right here. So the back is basically done. So let's finish working on the front. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut out this dart right here. So I'm gonna cut this dart all the way down to the bust point. Okay. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to close this bust dart. We're going to close it. And what you'll find is that the dart is being transferred to this part, okay? But here you'll have to blend this up to make it straight, because if you notice, it doesn't align properly. So you have to blend this up for it to stay straight. So I'm gonna do that now. There you go. Okay. So I'm gonna cut out. Okay, so that takes care of that part. Let's go to this part, because what I'm going to do, because I don't want to avoid gaping at this point, I will have to take out, I'm gonna take out about 1/2 inch from this measurement here. And then I'm just going to blend it up back to this point. Like this. This will take care of any gaping that you might have. Okay, so this is going to be off. I'm gonna cut that out. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out this. We're almost done. I want you to check to see if this aligns with the other one. So if I should put this like this, you're going to see that we are missing some measurements here, right at that point. So about 1 inch. So what we have to do, we'll have to add back that measurement here, or else you're going to have shortage. So now I'm going to cut this off. All right, so now let's check to see if they align now, okay? So now you see that it is perfect, okay? So when you have done that, all you need to do now. All right, so soulmates, the next thing we'll have to do is to finish the neckline. Remember, we went out a 1/4 inch more. So we have to ensure that 1/2 inch more. Yes, 1/2 inch more. See, at the back, we went in 1/2 inch. So we have to do the same thing on the shoulder line. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut off the center front here, so as not to confuse you. Sorry. So let me put an indication here that you should cut on fold. Okay, so now what you're going to do is that you're going to make your front neckline. So I'm just gonna make a neckline with a depth of 4 inches. Or 3.5 inches is okay. And then I'm going to mark my seam allowance. I'm just going to put this on my fabric and cut it. So if I should put these together, you see that they match perfectly. You see that? Perfectly. Okay, so all you're going to do now is put these on your fabric, and I'll show you how you could make the peplum. Okay, so mates, so I went ahead and I made my peplum. So what I'm doing for my peplum, so this is the lining and this is the main fabric. Now what I'm doing is box pleated peplum. You could do whatever peplum, I don't know what that word on me today, peplum you like. But I'm going for the box pleated. So if you're going to do it like me, it is very simple to do. All you're going to do, you're going to take your waist measurement and multiply it by 3. Okay? So for instance, the person's waist that I'm doing this for is 38 inches. When I multiply 38 by 3, I'm going to get 114. And then I added 2 more inches for my zipper allowance. Okay? So you're going to multiply your waist by 3 and add your zipper allowance. Now, this box pleat, the main fabric, so the main fabric from my nape, from the nape to the waist is 17 inches. And the length of the top that she wants is 22 inches. So it means then that I need about 5 more inches length in order to complete it. So what I did was that I gave it enough seam allowance, at least 1 or 1.5 inch seam allowance, to attach it to the top and also to attach the bottom. So you're gonna make your lining 1 inch shorter, because when you finish, you want this main fabric alone to show. So I'm gonna do it and then I'll show you what that looks like. I also went ahead and I cut out all my pieces. This is my basic bodice, basic sleeve rather, pattern. You could choose whatever sleeve you like. I've made many videos about different types of sleeve. You can always look at those and make the sleeve you want. This is the main part of my fabric. This is the lining and this is the back. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do some sewing now. We're gonna sew these up. So the first thing I'm gonna start with is the peplum part. I'm gonna top stitch towards the lining. This is what I'm talking about. So if I went ahead and I took my seam allowance, if I should fold it and match it back to this point, you'll see that the only thing you're seeing here is my main fabric, you see? And that is why I tell you to make the lining shorter than the main fabric. So this is what you're supposed to have. So I'm going to just tack this down so that I could go ahead and Alright, so now you're gonna give this a very good press and then do your box pleats. So I have a tutorial on how you could do box pleats. I'm gonna link it in the iCard so that you could be able to see that. So what you're going to do now is just sew in your darts on the lining and on the main fabric. Okay, soulmates, so I went ahead and I ironed out my seams. This is what we have. We're going to join the sides of the main fabric and also the sides of the lining. So I'm gonna do that now. Okay, soulmates, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the neckline of the front and the neckline of the back. So I'm going to use the lining, right sides facing each other, and I'm going to sew the neckline of both the front and the back. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to attach the shoulders. So I'm going to put the shoulder of the back to the front like this, and then use one of the lining to cover it like this. So I'm gonna do that now. Okay, soulmates, so this is my peplum. So what I'm going to do, this is my peplum. What I'm gonna do, I'm going to now attach the peplum to the bottom half of this dress. So I'm just going to match with each other. See, everything match up perfectly. And then we are going to attach the peplum to the bottom half. So that's what I'm gonna do now. Okay, soulmates, so this is what you will have. What you need to do, if you have an overlocker, you could overlock these edges, okay? Or you could use bias tape to cover it. If it bothers you, you could use bias tape to cover it. But I'm just gonna use an overlocker to finish it up. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to put my zipper in, and I'm going to put my my zipper in and my sleeve in. Now I've made detailed videos on how to put zippers and different types of sleeves, so you decide which one you want. So the main purpose of this video was to, you know, show you how you could use your bust dart to get your seams. So look at my seams here. You see how perfect it is? So for those who are busty and you're having problem with shortage of fabric, or your waistline coming underneath your like you're on the bust, you could use this method and it will come out perfect. So if you find this video helpful in any way, please give me a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe, turn on the post notification bell so you'll be notified each time that I make a video. Until we meet again, I will see you in my next one. Bye.